Hey everybody, so today I'm going to go over with you a new utility I just built that helps me summarize all of the chats that I have with Claude Code and sort of gives me an overview of what was accomplished. And my plan is in the future to not only use this for making content, but also to update documentation and do other things because a lot of details sometimes get lost, over the whole vibe coding process. So this helps because everything is actually saved in these long JSON files and they're not very readable. So I'm going to go over what I did there, and then also we're going to merge a PR from my one of my work trees into staging and make sure all of that works. Okay, so let's get into it. So as you can see here, I've got a Markdown file open, and I've got Claude Code over here on the right. And basically, what I did was I created a script that when you run it, it goes through all of the chats from a certain date. So I went from yesterday, the 15th, and I iterated it over and over a few times, basically, to make the summary how I like it. And what I did was, instead of trying to use Claude Code for this, which would be quite expensive and also a challenge because of the size of the files. So I decided to use Gemini Flash 2.5 on this. Actually, I think it's Gemini Flash Lite. And what it does is it has the 1 million context window. And so it can put a huge amount of text and it's still very cheap. So for this kind of summarizing and stuff like that, using Gemini Flash Lite is definitely superior to using Claude Code. So you can see here is that I have all these different. So here you can see the output are all these Markdown files. And there's a summary here. Basically, of all the session reports. So we've got enhancing vibe grid column visibility dropdown, initiate the development server. Okay, that was nothing. Resolve the container ref is null error. So there was an error in vibe grid. And see, these were some big ones. Optimize vibe grid's performance, fix vibe grid persistent issues, resolve vibe grid persistence timing and related things, optimize observer architecture to reduce redundant work. So there were 7 different chat sessions. One of the big ones was this optimize observer architecture. So you can see there's a 558,000 characters of chat data. And the main goal was to analyze the vibe grid initialization flow and optimize its observer architecture. And so the observer is what we use for state management. And we use a library called Legend State, which is a really cool library. Let's see, can I make this bigger? No. Oh, there we go. No. It's a really cool library that I've been using for all of my state management in my app. And so what it allows you to do is basically it allows your application to react to behave reactively. So I know the word react is very fraught because it's the name of the framework, but the reactivity aspect of this is that you basically subscribe to all the updates that you want. And it is challenging to set up because it is not the typical framework that is used. Like a lot of people, they like to use Zustand, which is definitely very useful. But the cool thing about Legend State is that it has patterns for stuff like UI, which is what we're doing here in the data table I have. And it also works with large data, it also works with large data sets, like tons of client records and things from the database. So I'm going to do a big video about that at some point, but I just want to show you how this summarizes things, which is really cool. So the challenges that were encountered. So it goes with what was accomplished. So we analyzed the vibe grid initialization flow, identified distinct phases from authentication to performance analysis, identified significant performance bottlenecks, developed and implemented a plan to consolidate multiple visual state observers. So it did all this stuff. Then it refactored stuff. It updated the renderer. It did a lot of cool stuff. And so it just did technical challenges, ping pong effect. And then some stuff is kind of false positive, like developer support conflict, right? Not an actual thing. It's just Claude messing up. But the stuff that is important definitely was highlighted here. ping pong effect. So the code changes made overall, the observer manager, replace separate visual observers. Okay, this was part of the refactor that I actually ended up changing some of this stuff. But here's something interesting that I had it pull out, which is effective user prompts. So the user's feedback looks like a lot of redundant work. Okay, I see the visual elements weren't fully consolidated. Was crucial in identifying the root cause of performance issues and guiding the solution. Okay, and then some of it is kind of not consequential, like let's make a plan to fix this. So here's some confusion course correction. There was no significant confusion was observed. The user's direct feedback and requests were clear and actionable. Cool. So the outcome of assessment was high quality, key learnings. So these are all things that I'm going to use later when that I want to use to basically help keep track of my documentation by analyzing not just things like commits and stuff like that, but the full chat history so we can make sure we're not missing anything. So some of the best practices: observer pattern, consolidation of state management, debouncing, modular architecture. So one of the things that I want to do is, see, here's another one. Okay, this was the really big one. This was 4 million characters. So there's 3 different chunks. So we also have it set up to split into chunks. So partially completed, visual state render. So these are different things that I did. Anyway, so this is more refactoring. This is all one day of work. I mean, it's kind of insane. So a lot of updates here. And basically, I'm just improving my data grid. So let's see where we're at. So this is, where are we? 2? Okay. Here it is. Why am I not logged in? Okay. It's actually the wrong one. I think this should be right. Yeah. Okay, so what happened was that my work tree branch had started all these extra servers, which happens sometimes. But here is the work tree on 4001, and I will show you guys kind of the state of the data grid. All right, let's go to something with more data. So here you can see I'm going to start this up. And it loads everything nicely. Of course there's a bug. Okay, so we have some more bugs, but that's okay. But it does do selections well now. It does sorting. It does editing. I don't know. Ooh, okay. There's still some bugs. Oh, come on. All right, so this is a work in progress because what I did was I made some very significant changes in the structure. So this is kind of what happens a lot during refactoring is you break stuff, you fix stuff, and you break stuff, and it's just a cycle. So there's still a lot of testing that I need to do, but what I want to do right now is I want to merge all this. Let's see if our grouping works still. So I want to merge all this because I want to get the latest stuff from the server. Okay. So a lot of the stuff is not working well, and that's okay. But we're going to merge what we have here, and then we're going to keep working on it and fixing stuff. Okay, so what I've done is I have created what's called a pull request. And basically what that does is that it's a request to merge a bunch of changes that I've made into our main staging branch. Okay? So our main staging branch is over here, okay? Our main staging branch is over here, and you can see it has a different, we did some stuff to the sidebar here, and we have all this stuff, these new projects, and this collapsible vault here. So we want to keep all of this stuff, but we want to include our code. As you can see, like for example, that took a lot longer to load, and it's a lot slower than what we have now. So we want to basically copy over all of our work that we've done on the vibe grid. So now I'm going to clear this, and I'm gonna give it the instructions. So please check PR, what's the PR number? PR number 87. Okay, please check PR 87 and prepare to merge. Okay, so basically what we did here is all of our work was very specifically on the vibe grid component. So since we did that, and there's a lot of changes that I don't want to try to merge it all, right? So if you had so there's different strategies. And the reason I don't want to merge directly, what I want to do is just take the entire state of the vibe grid folder and copy it over. So that means anything we deleted, anything like that will also be reflected in the staging repo. Because if we merge, I found that there's more chances that you'll have some stale code or you'll have some things that don't get properly merged and properly coordinated. So I'm going to tell it, please see if it's possible to take the full state of the vibe grid component folder and copy it completely and replace the vibe grid component folder in staging branch. Okay? So let's see how it goes. So this is how we work on different features in different branches. So eventually you want to merge it. And I did a ton of work on the vibe grid system. And so the reason I want to merge it is I want to get the changes back from staging and then resync my my work tree branch and then just keep working from there. So we don't get too divergent. I want to make sure we put it all together, and there are potentially some things that I want to work on in staging that have to do with state management or data loading that are outside the vibe grid component itself. So let's see what it says. Okay, so it's going to compare the two. Okay, so it can't check it out because it's checked out in another work tree. That's all right. Let's see how it goes. It's going to comprehensive view of the differences. And there's quite a few commits. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. So it says, right. All right. So there was a conflict. Okay, so it's going to merge it directly anyway. So that's fine too. My idea didn't work. Happens. Okay, yeah, we don't need those database conflicts. So there's a couple files that it found had conflicts, but actually there weren't any conflicts in the database, in the vibe grid system. And you can see, right, the one that has broken horizontal scrolling is what is now in the code. And yep, we have our drag and drop. Okay, so let's refresh. Okay, so this looks good. Oh, it's not finding groupable fields. This might have been something from somewhere else. We'll work on that. Okay, so basically everything seems to have merged, and it looks like it is exactly the correct state that I had in the staging branch. So let's see. Okay, so it's going to close. Okay, so then the rest of it is everything is good. So then it committed everything, and so now everything is good. Here, let's push to remote. Okay, so now we're finalizing it. Clean merge with conflict resolution, looking good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my work tree, excuse me, and I am going to reset back to the staging state. So that's going to get me all of the files that I need from staging so that I can keep working there on the vibe grid. But I'm going to do that a little later. Let's see. I think I will stop there for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please subscribe. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. And we will keep working together on this vibe coding journey. Okay, talk to you later, everybody.